I'm really proud to be Australian, and it's sad though that I'm sometimes not counted as Australian.
It seems almost that the more we talk about it, the more fear there is around the whole concept.
You don't have to go out and deliberately seek to exclude people or discriminate against people in order for some discrimination to take place.
I'm Australian, I'm born here, lived here, grew up here.
This is Cheng, but if you'd met him as a kid, you'd have known him as Michael. You see, his parents gave him an Anglo name to make his life a little easier.
I didn't find out I was 15, I was like, oh God. Oh, my parents just said, you need a English name. They basically gave me like this advice, this is how you're gonna find a job in the future. You gotta get a degree, have an Anglo name, speak English well and all this.
Cheng has a tertiary degree and years of volunteering and work experience, but says the job hunt can be frustrating.
I definitely prefer online tests because I find out if I just put my applications through with my name, I really don't go through. I noticed that if I use the name Chen, people automatically assume I'm a foreigner. And they would always, ask, oh, so are you an Australian citizen? Do you have permanent residency? I actually have to use Michael because if I don't use it, they automatically assume that I can't speak English and they won't hire me for a job.
I had 2 postgraduate degrees and 1 mechanical engineering degree. It was a real struggle to find a job.
Syed came to Australia several years ago from Pakistan and says he's faced similar challenges.
What a lot of people fail to understand is that you are battling a different set of circumstances. I'm not saying that anybody's struggle is more difficult or easier. It's just that it's a different struggle.
That struggle might be what's called unconscious bias. A 2017 University of Sydney study found 13% of job applicants with Anglo-Saxon names were invited back to an interview, compared with just 4.8% of Chinese-named applicants. Those with a Chinese surname and an Anglo first name fared around 4% better.
Unconscious bias is essentially our internal lens through which we see the world and make sense of it.
Dina Ward is an organisational psychologist. She studied what goes into decision-making during the job recruitment process.
They're disadvantaged from day one just based on their name, which is probably why a lot of clever people are choosing to change their names.
I wasn't born with Tim as my first name, but we came to use it, I think, when I was in year 1. So maybe my family and I were onto something at that stage.
Tim Soutphommasane was the Racial Discrimination Commissioner from 2013 to August this year.
The challenge is to understand that bias doesn't always come in the form of ugly outbursts of bigotry or hate. Sometimes it can be more sophisticated, more educated than that as well. If you look at what's happened with gender equality and the progress we've made in recent years, that's a reflection of decades worth of organising, advocacy and networking. You don't quite have that level of sophistication yet on racial or cultural diversity.
Some migrants are so sick of being judged on their names before their work experience, they're bypassing the recruitment process completely by making their own businesses.
I came here in 2013, had a bachelor's in mechanical engineering from Pakistan, did a master's here from University of Wollongong, but still found it very difficult to get into any meaningful employment. Eventually just got frustrated and decided that I wanted to start my own business. And that insight led me into thinking, if I want to start my own business, surely there are a lot of other people who might also want to do that as well. Catalyzer is a startup incubator that helps refugees and migrants to start their own businesses. Been working for a couple of years now, have helped 66 migrant and refugees. And so far I've started 15 new businesses, all the way from small business to tech startups. We had a business called Kushri Corner. It was started by Wali, who was a marine engineer from Egypt. There's another guy, Syed, from Pakistan, who started Water Democracy, which is using his engineering skills to be able to create a water filtration system that he's testing in Bangladesh at the moment. It's like normal water.
Yeah, it's like normal water. That's what I thought, that I've got the skills, I know the problem better than most people out there.
So it's a very simple process. It's called solar distillation. There's water on the base inside the model, and because of the sunlight, the water inside gets heated up and it evaporates inside. Once it condenses, it trickles down because of the slope, collects in the pipe at the bottom, and it comes out here outside for drinking.
We're trying to do is a win-win situation. It's creating jobs here in Australia. It's also helping solve problems for those people who find it hard to get into employment.
But what about those people who don't want to start a business? And what role do employers play in this?
What I say to most of our clients as a sort of starting point is blind recruitment. It's essentially removing any personal information from people's applications and CVs, and that might be their name, their address, the schools and universities, and just leaving the key skills and qualifications that are actually relevant to the job they're applying for. It's not a silver bullet, but it's definitely going to have an effect on the types of candidates that you see coming through your recruitment funnel. And we know that 1% increase in racial diversity translates to a 3% increase to the bottom line. So there's very sort of tangible benefits to be had from it for businesses.
I believe that targets should be the way to go, but we're still a long way away from having targets across the board on cultural diversity, given we don't have comprehensive data.
We're meant to be a multicultural country, but for some reason the identity of our country still seems to be a white one. It does get kind of hurtful because we start sort of having thoughts like, oh, maybe we're kind of worthless comparatively.
How does that make you feel?
Sort of between identities. Like, I don't really know which group I belong to.
We're a great multicultural success story, but Australia's still got a long way to go to make the most of its diverse talent.
Ultimately, I think people want to do the right thing. I just think it's going to be a slow journey. That's an unfortunate thing.
Nowadays, I tend to put Chen in my resumes. Just want to sort of make a stand, I guess. Like, it's my actual name. Why would I use a name that's not actually my name?